Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. Today is Friday, January 2nd. Happy New Year. And we're going to find out who are the bigger idiots, us or the NFC South. Also, it's time to give Miles the microphone to let him talk all things IU and why Lane Kiffin is crying eating his Wheaties while America just Googles Pete Golding.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots.
There was something in the air that night. The roses were bright. Fernando.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. Welcome back, sinners. This is Season 2 of Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome in. Happy New Year. Our first episode of 2026. It is I, Adam Reno, joined by the usual suspects for 2026. One T.I. and Miles Behind Lines. Reminder, new episodes of Sports Idiot Nation come to you every Hoosiers. I'm randomly just gonna, when it makes sense, I'm just gonna randomly start doing that because that's the season we're in. That's the life we're living. It's what's happening in 2026. We're all here for it. So we will get into all of the college football shenanigans very, very soon. But we have to start here because there is nothing more NFC South than what the situation is starting tomorrow. Here with his hot takes is Miles Behind Enemy Lines.
Breaking news, Chris Olave ain't playing, and that might be the most important player for either Carolina or Tampa.
And your fantasy,
Where are
right?
we at?
First start there.
Well, thank God my fantasy season's over, and Chris Olave already helped me win a title. Obviously, a situation like this with a blood clot that can get scary. I'm sure he'll be just fine, but being held out in a consequential game between the Falcons and Saints, let's get real. Now, obviously, if the Panthers win it, it's a moot point. But, man, I really hope Tampa wins just so this comes down to Atlanta and New Orleans in a game. If Atlanta wins, of course, Carolina
which is the next day.
If Tampa beats them, which is the next day. So they have to
go over that.
They have to watch Tampa. So if Tampa, assuming Tampa wins in this scenario, Tampa has to sit around and watch the Atlanta New Orleans game without Chris Olave. They need New Orleans to win. Obviously, if they win, and they don't have their number one weapon who has helped that offense go, not just all season, but especially in the last couple of weeks when that offense has started to click. That dude's been a beast. T.I. and I, myself, had to witness that recently, and this plot just thickened, kind of like his blood clot. Sorry, I had to say it. This could get really fascinating really quick if Tampa does pull this off tomorrow.
That's a whole day. That it's a whole day past. Like, that's also the funny thing is, like, all right, you win the game, a random Saturday. We know it's the last few weeks of the NFL. That's how you can always tell, is when you have random Saturday games. And so here you go. You win on Saturday. You're feeling good. And, oh, you have to wait like a whole 24 hours, basically. And you're watching nervously. Do you meet at the facility? Where do you meet up as the coaching staff? So, and what do you call this on like Microsoft Teams, and you mark your calendar and you send invites to the coaches, they have to hit accept. What are you putting this as? Like, that is the funniest thing to me, all just to get completely destroyed by the Eagles, the Packers, who, like, all that to host and just get destroyed. Like, it's the most NFC South thing that we can think
You'll have to play an NFC West team. But if you lose, you're going to Tampa or Carolina. If you lose on Saturday, it's going to be the best Rams, wild card from the NFC West. It won't be the Rams. It'll be the loser of Seattle and San Francisco will go to the NFC South champion. So you'll have a bye week even if you lose.
Yeah, right,
Oh,
right.
man.
Like that's just so like we had to start there. That's just so
Poor,
it's so funny. It's very
poor
idiot
football
of
fans. Poor NFL
yeah.
fans. Poor us. We have to watch
If
that
Tampa,
debacle unfold.
yeah, and don't forget if Tampa wins and then Atlanta wins, obviously Carolina wins the division, but then all three teams end 8-9. Atlanta wins, they're suddenly 8-9, but they're out. They're already eliminated, even if they pull this off and do it for Carolina. Do it, lady.
I was just
Yeah.
you beat me to it.
Typical
So
typical
Do it, Atlanta.
Falcons football. Start
Do it, Atlanta.
winning games. Start winning games when your season's over. You know, start showing up and playing football when your season's over already.
Balled out. Ruined Stafford.
You know,
Love it.
maybe they should have just kept running with Captain Kirk instead of my 8th overall Phoenix. You know,
No
imagine
Captain Stabbing.
imagine if the Falcons had a quarterback like Kirk Cousins to just start the whole year.
yeah. I mean, they should have worked that out somehow. You know, oh Kirko Chains.
Yeah. That
He
was
did.
why
Yeah,
I
I
got
mean,
on Monday.
that whole division is just a mess. I mean, the fact that the Panthers are even where they're at after how they started, like what? I mean, that's all Tampa Bay's fault, 100%, because they were just dive bombing. I
Can
think
we
they've-
invite that entire division on the SinCast because they are members in good standing of Idiot Nation?
Well,
all
I
of
mean, the majority of the teams in their roster will already be headed for Cancun, so maybe we could catch them when they're on vacation.
Ooh,
Hang out
how
at
was
the airport.
Cancun? Try not to
Hang
get
out at the
stabbed there.
airport. So, all right, what else? That very night, then, of course, now I get to talk about my Niners. We host the Seahawks, and the winner, well documented, the winner is the entire number 1 seed throughout the whole NFC, and the playoffs go through that city, either Santa Clara or Seattle. And then the loser, Miles, you're saying, I don't know the scenario. You're saying whoever loses
The
that game
loser
goes to the
will
NFC
be the
South
5
champion.
seed. Yeah, and therefore get to bye themselves. So both Seattle and San Francisco will have a bye.
So, yeah. So, here's what I'm curious is I am the most biased in the history of bias since it was invented in 1937 when bias was invented. No one has been more biased than me in this. But I'll ask you guys, non-bias, what's your take on this Niners Seahawks? Like, do you trust Sam Darnold? You guys both have trusted him before against the Rams, and he screwed the pooch throwing 4 picks. When you said before that game was played that you trusted him. So I'll throw that little birdie in your ear, and I'm just curious, without being a homer like me, I'll start with Miles. What's your take on this exciting matchup?
I think it's less about Sam Darnold and more about the Santa Clara 69ers. They're playing too well right now. I think right now they're my favorite to win the NFC. And I don't just mean win that game on Saturday tomorrow and get the 1 seed, but if they get the 1 seed, then going through there all the way to Super Bowl 60. I think they're doing too much. They're clicking too hard. I mean, George Kittle, I assume, plays tomorrow, correct?
Yeah.
They're just add another one in the arsenal, man. I don't see, even with how good Seattle's defense is playing on the road in the year in a high pressure situation. Honestly, against Carolina, I was very underwhelmed. Very underwhelmed. It took Carolina's stupidity, Carolina being who they are, a 500 team, more down the stretch beat themselves. Seattle, they did a couple things in the second half. AJ Barner, former Indiana Hoosier, of course, he played well, but it's going to take more than Barner making a couple nice plays offensively to go into Santa Clara and beat the Niners. I think that will. I think that'll show. But if Seattle does find a way to win this, that's going to be a huge problem. I don't think anyone. I think there's a better chance for San Francisco to actually lose at home, albeit I think they'd be the favorite for sure. no one's going into Seattle in the postseason and winning. So I think this is more important for San Francisco to win. But at the end of the day, I think they do.
Ti.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Miles totally. San Francisco's playing out of their mind. But, like I said, Seattle defense is great. You don't know what kind of defense the Niners are going to show up. And, we thought Seattle was dead in the water a couple weeks ago against the Rams came back and beat them. So, I mean, you just never know that NFC West, the wild and wacky NFC West, definitely the best conference in the NFL this season. It's hard to go against an offense that their punter has punted twice in like 2 months. So it's definitely the game to watch. I mean, both Saturday night and Sunday night, like we're getting treated to pretty good important games, and then we've got that the crap that we had to talk about in the first that really nobody cares about except their fan base. But I got to go with Miles, man. I agree. I think your Niners on a roll. I think that home field advantage is important to them. I think they're eyeing that more than anything. The fact that they won't have to leave the state, won't have to travel. They can just basically hang around their loved ones, get some extra shut-eye, not have to catch any red-eye flights, like none of that. So I got to go with the Niners, man. They're playing great. Playing Brock Purdy, 10 touchdowns in last two games. And out there, like, juking defenders like Mike, like the white Michael Vick, just gotta go with the Brock. What did you say you guys call him? Big Glock Brock, bang bang Niner gang, Big Glock Brock. Sounds like I'm about to drop a mixtape, but
I love Ti with all the Niner here's big tight.
He's on the
like
end.
learning all the Niner,
Big Glock Brock. That makes me think of Third Leg Greg, most definitely.
So I think that's interesting because I thought maybe you guys would talk through a little bit how bad the defense has been playing. If you look at the first half against the Colts, the Niners looked clueless against a guy who's my age. And to the Bears, obviously giving up point for point for point for point. Just we couldn't stop anybody until the freaking last play of the game, which you can live and die off that. And I was just curious. I know Robert Saleh's great. He just doesn't have enough ingredients to make the soup that he wants because the ingredients got injured, I guess, in that analogy. Is that still, So I'm curious. I don't know.
Oh, I do know, Adam, because the reality is, I already alluded to it. The Seattle offense has been just as anemic lately as San Francisco's defense has played poorly. I think it's going to be a moot point because they're going to balance each other out. It's going to come down to San Francisco's offense continuing to steamroll teams. And obviously, Seattle's defense is what they are. But I think right now, San Francisco's offense is playing better. The other side of the ball, it's just kind of survival of the fittest right there. It's can Seattle's defense contain them enough and Seattle's offense generate enough for 4 quarters, and I don't think they will. So for every bit, again, you're being biased, but on the other side, towards yourself, you're being the pessimist, worried about your defense. Well, I think the outsider is more worried about the Seattle offense right now.
Yeah, Seattle offenses look pretty sus the past couple weeks. Before they got a couple defensive plays, I think they only had 3 points against the Panthers. So, that's not going to fly against the Niners. That is not going to fly. So that's kind of where my head's at. Seattle defense, obviously, their Achilles heel. They're definitely their secret weapon. But the offense has just been anemic outside of a couple big plays when it matters, and which is still important. Obviously, you need to be able to capitalize when you need to. But, that's fine when you're playing the Panthers. But that shit ain't going to fly when you're playing the Niners. So. Yeah, got to go with Niners, man. Got to go with Niners. Big Glock Brock, bang, bang.
Bang, bang. Like, you just sound so awkward.
Bang, bang.
I love it. I cannot tell a lie. I do love it.
It's a Borat with some Niners
fan.
fan.
Welcome.
Bang, bang.
I'm
going to bang, Niner gang.
Yeah. How much?
No,
how much for Big Glock Brock?
No Seahawks, just Niners. All right. So then Sunday, there's not a ton going on. There will be a Trey Lance sighting. If that doesn't get you excited, I guess we end the show then. If that doesn't make you happy, I mean, we all
No,
need some
we'll
Trey
continue
Lance.
the show. No one else cares besides you.
No, and I don't care. I don't care either. The game truly, though, that really, really matters is T.I. alluded to it, the Sunday night. Lamar Jackson is playing. So
Doesn't matter. Does it really matter?
So that
I mean,
that's a
they're
that's a
better
tough-
than the NFC South. The AFC
that's a tough blow for the Ravens. Tough blow for the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's back.
That's
Say the
good.
Huntley.
That's a good one.
The
That
former
was not
Pro
rehearsed.
Bowler Huntley.
That's,
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yoinks, Scoob. I will say them at home in the cold will have a better chance to win the wild card game than Carolina or Tampa in probably decent weather getting shellacked by an NFC West wild card team.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So-
And then, they still got Derrick Henry, so they've got the
learned
man
their
proved
lesson.
that man
They
proved he's
learned-
still got a little bit in his tank. Unless his tank is empty after last week, because that was a lot of work.
No, I don't
A
think
lot of
so.
work, man. I don't think so either. I don't think his tank gets empty. He's just a machine. I think it's like that scene in Terminator, where he's like cuts his arm open and shows him, that's like Derrick
Machine.
Henry. Yeah.
So you have Baltimore then, Ti?
Oh man, that's tough, man. That's tough. I
So
don't
is
know,
it-
man. I think old man. I think old man Rogers finds a way to get it done, man. I think
Really?
they
Wow.
screwed the pooch.
Whoa.
They screwed the pooch last week.
He's a Rodgers
Screwed
fan,
the
Miles.
pooch.
We forget.
Yeah, I
that.
like Rogers, man.
Oh,
But
Well,
he's
and it is illegal for Tomlin to have losing records, so there's a point to it.
that's true.
Right, he sold his soul.
Is DK Metcalf playing though? Is DK
No.
Metcalf playing?
No,
He's not. That's
he's
tough.
not. But you got
That
Kenneth
is
Gainwell.
Yeah. He's
You're
in the
alive?
world of football players. Kenneth Gainwell surely is one of them. But I'm just gonna, man, just from having my faith in Rodgers, I'm gonna go with Rodgers. But hey, if Derrick Henry runs for 500 yards and 8 touchdowns, I wouldn't be surprised. So
Go ahead, crown him.
Crown him.
Crown him.
Crown him. All right.
crown his ass. You want to go ahead and crown him? Crown his ass.
Ti, I'll ask you just real quickly. We don't need a soliloquy or what's that? The poems. What is that?
The yarmulke.
Hominous, I think.
No.
Hummus. You eat it with
Haiku
pita chips.
is the one you're going for. I think.
Haiku.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
We
just
don't
waiting.
need
I
all
was seeing
that,
how long
but-
this would go till you get it.
Yeah, you're just leaving me hanging like what a jerk.
Yeah.
Turning over a new leaf in 2026 is Miles behind enemy lines. Thanks. In the Titans game against the Jags, just are you looking for anything in particular?
Yeah, I'm just looking for us to lose. That's all I care about pretty much at this point. Because, I mean, why, we're sitting there at 5. Why jump to 10? That's not worth it. That's how we lost out on Joe Alt and got stuck with JC Latham. So let's not do that again. Let's not do that. That's exactly what happened, last time we beat Jacksonville and it didn't matter. So then again, hey, it's always fun to get a win. It's always fun to see him win, but I don't care, man. I hope they lose, to be honest,
Just keeping
Go
it
ahead.
Keep it 100. Keep it
Shoot me
100.
shoot me if you want. But
No, I'm with you. Okay, so then let's see. Miles, do you have it sounds like you have the Ravens then.
I do. I think Baltimore keeps it rolling for one more week. I do see an early exit in the wild card, but I just don't see Aaron Rodgers having anything left in the tank. I mean, these two teams are going in opposite directions for the last couple weeks, and I think Baltimore ends up pulling off the comeback. I thought Baltimore was going to run away with this division once Joe Burrow went down. I was wrong. Certainly Pitt had it going, and we all thought certainly they were running away with the division. I thought we'd crown them after like week 7, but they imploded, as I'm not surprised by. But all those preseason picks for Baltimore winning the Super Bowl, you got life. You still got life.
Yeah.
And you're one win away from a home game in the wild card round.
Yeah. The NFC South and the AFC North, it's kind of annoying to talk really. It's like they're the same kind of. It's like that Spider-Man where they're pointing at each other. Like, who sucks worse? No, you. No, who cares?
Same, but different, but still same.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see how it all shakes out here in a couple days. We'll be glued on Saturday, half on Sunday with the Falcons and Saints. Everyone will be glued.
Sign me up. Everybody will be sniffing glue, more like it, just to enjoy that game.
That's if Tampa wins, right? If they lose, it's all for naught. Then it doesn't matter, and Carolina is just automatically. But
and then Wayne's
Tampa,
happy. She's just happy Saturday night.
Yeah. All right. So let's jump now before Miles pops a blood vessel. Let's get into.
Let's stay calm, gentlemen. It's inevitable. I'm staying calm.
And we can't get there right away because let's go in order. And it was fun right before New Year's Eve. Let's go over some of the debacles for Ohio State on New Year's Eve. Miles, we haven't talked about this. We're doing this. We'll do it live. I didn't tell you, but I am counting on your sports autism to get us through. So, I believe Ohio State versus, gosh, who was it? There's three times Ohio State on New Year's Eve has been let down. Once it was they put up a goose egg.
Clemson. Yeah, okay. They got blanked against Clemson. And then the other, God, it wasn't
Georgia.
Oklahoma, it wasn't Alabama.
Georgia.
Oh, Georgia. Thank you. Yeah, it was Georgia. You're right. Yeah, good, very good on you. Teamwork right there. The balded beard. So, yeah, they absolutely got shellacked in the Fiesta Bowl against Clemson. That Clemson team was awesome. And then, obviously, the Georgia one as well. But those were different because both those games, Ohio State was supposed to lose. This game obviously got the media going because the layover, the month off, effectively 4 weeks, and and it's proven. I mean, we saw it for at least through the first 6 games. We'll get to it in a bit, that these teams don't show up. I mean, my God, half the team's still on the bus, and Miami forced a lot of it. I get that, but there's no question Ohio State lost this game. Once Ohio State started chugging in the second half, they were picking apart Miami's defense. But guess what? Too little, too late. Miami's defense is legit. There's a reason why Miami's in the Final Four, and they've earned it. And obviously, as I made mention to you, Adam, I said, if Miami wants to win this game, they need a defensive score. Well, by God,
that was wild. Nothing. Let's talk about that. So I remember you saying that. And first of all, let's go over the scouting report, because you see this in high school, or like you don't see it at this level of when football matters this much, where just an error of this level is made. And good on that DB for seeing it, reading it.
This film. He made that pick before that game started, because that was a film session interception right there. He had it from the minute. And dude, kudos to Miami. They made that happen. But by God, Satan was bad. The offensive line was terrible. And again, part of it is what the defense does. But Ohio State was worse than what Miami was good. And Miami's going to have to do a lot more to continue to advance in this playoff, because their offense, Carson Beck had a decent game, but their offense really didn't do much that entire game. And Ohio State for a couple drives in the second half was doing whatever they wanted. But when you get yourself in a 17-point hole against a good team and a very good defense, it's hard to win football games. That's plain facts. And then once Miami's defense finally did get a stop, and then their offense did get a drive, it's lights out. So it just took 2 drives at the end of the game where Miami had to get things go back their way. They did, and they won, and they earned it. But again, I do not foresee Miami winning a national championship like this.
No, but as long as Ohio State's out, right, Ti?
The Ohio State. You forgot that
the
part.
Overrated.
The overrated Ohio State. Yeah, I mean, once you throw a pick six early in a game, there's a lot going on in a young kid's head. He's checking himself. He's questioning himself. He's overthinking every play. He's not trusting his instincts. And he had 2 picks, which is not his style. Everybody wants to crown him, and he's still a young kid. I mean, he's got a lot of work to do. But I was not too impressed. I was not too impressed. You know what I'm saying? About saying
we exposed him.
Not too
him.
Impressed. Jeremiah Smith is a great wide receiver. It'll be interesting to
titties, big old titties.
See how his career pans out. And Julian Saint, I'm sure, will be fine, but the stage was too big for him. He wasn't ready. Miami showed up. Crystal Ball has a great defense there, like you said. So Carson Beck is the kind of quarterback that just has to do enough to get a win, as long as the defense is holding their opponents to 20 points, 24 points. I mean, I don't know what typically, I don't know what they typically give up all season, but they don't seem like they don't give up a lot of points. So, if defense is doing their job, Carson Beck can go in there and just kind of put around a little bit and score when he needs to. So, I don't know, one thing I will say back, 2 months ago, I felt like I had the ultimate kiss of death because I was talking about how I thought Oregon and Miami were playing the best football in the nation. And I would kind of joke like we might see a Ducks Hurricanes natty. And here we are. They're in the Final Four. So I guess I don't have the kiss of death anymore, which is interesting.
Redeem yourself.
But I don't. I still see, Indiana and, definitely being the cream of the crop out here because, I mean, they've actually just demoralized the Roll Tides. So, we'll talk about that later. But, yeah, I was impressed with Miami. And I hate that I missed the episode last week because I told a few people, even in my text thread with my buddies, I was like, I don't know, man. I think Miami's going to shock the world. I got laughed at. So I wish I would have been on here to say
Who's
that.
laughing now? Yeah.
Yeah. Who's laughing now?
You can say it now. Take your lap.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of like what I said with Adam when you and I are on. I said the ACC's taking a lot of flack. Miami has the opportunity to go in there and kind of rewrite the story, kind of tell people, hey, we actually have something. Like I said, Carson Beck is wanting that rematch with Georgia really bad, so I think he's going to be up to the challenge against Ohio State. And, yeah, sure enough, man, he proved it. I mean, he didn't do what he needed. I mean, like I said, he didn't win the game. He just did enough to not fuck it up,
Right.
So
that's fair.
It was clearly defense.
So, all right. I'm thinking through just anything else with this Ohio State and how they go forward even for a second. Ryan Day has one of those
fucking
punchable.
Fine, dude. He does, dude. But they have so much talent coming back.
No,
oh
and
my
they
God,
and,
dude.
and they do, and that's fair. But I'm
never underestimate Ryan Day's ability to screw it up. Albeit one of them natty last year. But dude, him deciding to take over the play calling, talk about desperate, dude. Indiana didn't hurt your feelings that bad. We beat you. You're still in the game against the best team in the country. But he panicked, dude. Full-fledged panic, and it cost him dearly. Absolutely dismal. What are you thinking, dude? Just get you tighten up the screws. You're playing a team not as good as Indiana, certainly not offensively, but you showed your desperation. IU showed Miami the blueprint, how to win this game. Took advantage, simple as that. And guess what? You got Bo Jackson, who can't block worth a shit. He got railroaded. That was hilarious. You got God, I can't say his name right. Just saying's coming back another year.
right.
He'll be better. And guess what? You have the best receiver in the country who has to come back another year because he's not eligible for the draft. Ohio State offensively will be beast next year. and their defense will only get better. I mean, you hit the portal, and you're Ohio State. Ohio State, without a doubt, should be far and away the best team in the country next year.
And I mean, think of how many Big Ten titles they don't have. How many times they haven't beat Michigan. How many times they haven't won.
They haven't won
the
since
Big One.
COVID. They haven't won since COVID, and people forget that. In a shortened year where you didn't have to play Indiana in the championship game, you got lucky and you got Northwestern.
Yeah. It's just there. It's the weirdest. If you're an Ohio State fan, you are in the weirdest spot as like, hey, you've just won, like literally, last year. You're overall, you get good recruits. You're a good team. You're all this, and yet you deep down don't want Ryan Day as your coach, and that's such a weird spot.
You feel like you're underachieving, and you just won the national title, and you should win next year.
Yeah,
Should have
and
won this year.
meanwhile,
but
Auburn
that's
fans are
where
like,
we are.
"Geez, can we just win some football games?" Like what? Like it's just
I've been there
UCLA's in the
130
same
years.
boat.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
I've been there
you know,
130 years. It's all good.
We did get hosed by two teams that made the college playoffs, who we typically beat. So
That's true.
it is what it is.
That's true.
Got hosed by Oklahoma.
One of the
got
worst
hosed
calls
by-
of the year against Oklahoma. No
my
question.
God.
I still remember that lack of
And
pass
even-
interference.
I have to say, even the Georgia game, that was a terrible call, man. But hey, doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. We're not talking about that right now.
It's 2026 now. That's the good news for you, Auburn Tigers. It's 2026 now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just such a weird place to be. All right, let's go to
2026 or an Auburn fan. Trust me, it's really weird being an Auburn fan.
yeah.
It's a lot of long nights, long sleepless nights.
Like I just thought, like, okay, let me ask you real quick, Ti. What if breaking news? Ryan Day accepts position at Auburn.
No, I don't like Ryan Day. I never have. I'm not a fan of him. Him and his little
But
Sharpie mustache, Con Air beard.
But does your
I mean,
program get better when he?
No, because can Ryan Day recruit? Can Ryan Day flip a recruit from Bama to Auburn? Hell no. People go to Ohio State because it's Ohio State. They don't go to Ohio State because it's Ryan Day. It doesn't matter who's the coach. People are like, yeah, it's Ohio State. It's the Ohio State.
Urban Meyer flipped people because he was Urban Meyer. You think?
I'd say
Totally
he probably
different
flipped
story.
people. I'd say
I'm
he
just
probably
curious.
flipped people just because he had a great history at Florida, so people believed in him. What's Ryan Day's legacy? I don't know. I just don't like him, man. I never really have. I've always just been like really underwhelmed with him. I think he's a crybaby. I like tough-nosed coaches. I don't like people that will cry and whine. And everybody likes Dan Lanning, and I think he's a whiny baby too, man. I really do. But whatever. He's a good coach. Oregon's always in there, always a threat. So I'm not going to knock him. If I'm having to pick between Dan Lanning and Ryan Day, I probably would go with Dan Lanning. But I just have never been a Ryan Day fan. He's never impressed me. It is what it is, man. I know Ohio
Auburn
State
would be in
fans
great shape if you had to pick between those two. I'm just saying.
Yeah, all right.
No,
Yeah,
if you had Ryan Day, you'd increase by 3 wins next season.
Yeah, that's right. And they wouldn't be conference. They wouldn't be conference wins.
Maybe so, but
maybe
Ryan
two
Day
of them
would be a massive increase. Dan Lanning's a top 3 coach in the country. Dan Lanning can coach his ass off.
He's a great
He
coach.
is phenomenal.
He just cries too much.
I like a number of things he said lately, but neither here nor there, because the Oregon Ducks, you have next.
Yeah. Quack, quack.
So, yeah, Oregon, well, Texas, let's go. Let's start with a team that, I mean, come on, you can't score a single point. No one thought of Oregon in that way. Even in our X factors, even in our things that like we went over, it wasn't necessarily like, oh, Oregon's defense is gonna like be so good and not give up a single point. Like that was never. I don't think even Oregon fans were I mean, just completely like, what? We blanked them? How does that happen? What does that say about the schedule? What just Miles, what's your overall thought seeing the shutout?
There's a difference between Tech's starting quarterback and their backup quarterback. That honestly didn't surprise me at all. It was less about Oregon's defense and more about Tech's offense. And I get Tech's putting up a lot of points, but schedule does matter. You didn't play a team anywhere near Oregon's talent all year. And the momentum going to that game, again, Tech had offensive issues from the 4-week layoff. And it wasn't as egregious as Ohio State's. It's not even close because the talent gap between Oregon and Texas Tech was exploited from the jump. But once Oregon got control early, even in a low-scoring game, even where it was only one score, you could tell Oregon was in complete control. And Tech just could not get the engine going at all. And once that separated to a 16-0 game, it was lights out. So I think it's more about just Tech's offense was not what it had generated through playing a Big 12 schedule. You play a team like Oregon, man. Sorry. And then Oregon could have won that game huge, but they continue to do Oregon things, whether it's against JMU, where you give up a bunch of meaningless points and yards in the second half when the game's in control. And in this game where they could, but those people don't watch Oregon the way folks like myself do. That game, in the second half, Oregon could have won that game by 60 if they wanted to. They didn't care. It didn't matter. And that's what my entire point about that was. They didn't need to blow the bricks off JMU. Just get the win and get on to Texas Tech. Same thing. They didn't need to score 60. Yeah, they just scored 23. They blank them. Cool. You move on to the Chick-fil-A Bowl, and they're doing their thing. And I'm telling you, every week Oregon gets healthier and healthier. And as an Indiana fan, this is the team that scares me the most. Left in. I'm not saying that we win this and we win the national title. No, I'm just saying they're the second best team left in this playoff. I'm going to say it.
You've been on that wagon for sure. I mean, that's why that win was so impressive. When talking about IU, obviously, going to their place, and I know they were a little bit injured and not the same, but still was a big deal.
Man, Oregon's very good. Very good.
T.I., what did you think of Oregon?
We've already talked about this many times. I mean, I thought Oregon was playing some of the best ball that I've seen them play in the past few years. I like their quarterback. We've just had a discussion about they have a great coach. So I wasn't shocked. I mean, the defense did their job, but I also kind of wonder if just the moment was too big for Tech because, I mean, they set a record number of wins for their school history. They made the playoffs for the first time. It's kind of like, here we are, but what do we do now? And I just think when you're having to face Oregon on the other side of the aisle, like that's a mental challenge all in itself. Tech and Big 12, they're not really playing that kind of talent in the Big 10. So I just think maybe the moment might have been too big for Tech, and Oregon knew that. And so Oregon just basically was like, as long as we just focus on, keeping them making any big splash plays. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Don't allow any big splash plays to get the momentum going. We can just slow walk this. And did I think they were going to shut them out? No. But we all knew they were going to win, and we all probably thought they would win by at least a couple touchdowns. So I think it is what I expected. I wanted to see maybe a little better game like we all did, but I didn't think that Texas Tech had a shot in hell to win that game.
But just to be blanked like that. And then what'd you guys think of Oregon getting that last touchdown? Is there any defending it at all, Miles?
Again, it didn't care. He didn't give a shit. Dan Lanning doesn't give a damn. I think 23-0 looks sexier than 16-0. You just get that 2 in front of it. You win by 3 scores.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. And I don't think Tech really cares about it either. I'm surrounded by Tech people, and at the end of the day, they were happy to be there. And here's the other thing too. because the oil money, they know they're going to be around for a long time. You're in the Big 12, and you're going to be sticking in the Big 12. Tech is just fine. So they aren't going to get butt hurt over a garbage touchdown at the end of the game in a game where they knew they had no business winning. I mean, before the game, maybe so, but with how the game went, Oregon was a better team. And I talked to my buddy, and I said a little tongue in cheek, but I was like, hey, and I say this all the time, hey, no, there's no shame in losing to a better team. And they're like, yeah, that's correct. So, garbage touchdown at the end. It wasn't like it was, again, 60-0. You score another one to make it 67, or, you get my point on that. It wasn't totally rubbing in their nose, but, just play football, and they're moving on. I don't think there was any tough feels on that beyond just us talking about it now, to be frank.
Yeah. All right. So for the first time since Miles was 1 year old and T.I. was 27, the IU Hoosiers have won a bowl game, and they should be looked down on a little bit with some disdain, for they did give up 3 points to the fighting
Rotides.
Yeah, to the fighting
Rotides. No,
Take it away.
It's ROWTYDE. Rotides.
All right.
Rotide. Rotide.
Take it away, Miles.
So I really hate this. I'd rather be asked questions because, damn, this is so hard. Like, where the hell do I start?
Yeah, just take it. That's what I want.
I think
5
we have
hours
to go,
later.
Yeah, right. And we can do this because our viewers want this. They know they do. Deep down, they do. Even if they don't, they do. I think we have to talk about the game because this isn't about me personally. This is about what happened and how we got to the point where we figured IU would probably cover the spread, and all the talking heads said, nah, IU hasn't played anyone. Ohio State got exposed, and Oregon, they're probably not that good because they hadn't played anyone else besides IU. So how did we get to 35-point spread on this? So first of all, Sig knows how to get his team laser sharp and laser focused to execute, because that's what we have to do, because, again, we're the 72nd best roster in the country. So how do we defeat a team, and not just Alabama? We beat Alabama, Ohio State, Penn State, who, yeah, by the way, Penn State's actually a really, really good football team. Look at what they did against Oregon and us, at Oregon and at Iowa. We have to be ready. We have to be mature, and we have to execute. Month layoff. We're the only team in the 2-year history of it that has won after a first-round bye. There's a reason for it. So coming in, yeah, that first series in the wet and rain, we essentially go 3 and out and punt. And okay, that happens. Football. Bama starts moving the ball a little bit. It's going to be part of the game. You get that stop, and then after that, you go from your own 3-yard line and march down the field. And yeah, settle for 3. You had the comms issue. We talked about that. And I was like, no, we're totally fine. We just marched all the way down the field. And guess what? In this game, settling for 3 actually might win us this game. And we could have kicked one more field goal after that one. We would have still won the damn game. The true moment that turned this into what it was when the former offensive coordinator for Indiana decided to be moronic and go for it on 4th and 1 with 10-plus minutes left in the second quarter in your own territory against a team that was boiling to blowing this game wide open. Why in the hell do you go for a 4th and 1? Best case scenario, you pick up the first down there, and you still have about 50 yards to go just get in field goal range. Let's take it a step further. Go down the field and score a touchdown there. You go up 7-3 is the absolute best case scenario. 7-3, cool, game on, whatever. Indiana probably still eventually takes control, wins it closer. The fact that you go for it there, get stopped, and now you give the Heisman Trophy winner who just marched down the field, had an 80-yard drive, kicked a 3, and now you give him a short field at the 35-yard line going in, it's game over. That was as soon as we stopped them there, it was 3-0. But as soon as we stopped them, I said, we're winning this game. We're probably going to win by 3 or 4 scores. I really felt at that moment they were deflated. Obviously, beautiful catch by Charlie Becker. Kind of had that Omar Cooper feel to it. what he had against Penn State. Obviously not as ridiculous with footwork, but climbing the ladder, it was gorgeous. Got a screenshot on that. I'm saving on my phone, you best believe. And then from there, offense, defense, special teams, complete control. Get to halftime up 17-0. I'm like, okay, what is Bama going to do? Obviously, you had that comeback against Oklahoma down 17. OU ain't IU. We're a far better team than Oklahoma. But I expected Bama to have some fight and get the ball first, start the second half. First play, jailbreak, hit 2-yard loss. Next play, screen pass blown up entirely. And that they zoom in on Ty Simpson and the look of defeat on his face. The series isn't even over. It's third down. But seeing that and seeing the face of the other Bama team, this game's all over. Next play, 4-yard gain, punt the ball, lights out. They quit. It's embarrassing for Bama. This has nothing to do with me being an IU fan. I have never seen an Alabama team like that look so defeated. And I think the reality is Kalen DeBoer ain't it. I get it. He had the audacity to take that job after the greatest college coach of all time. That's impossible, man. That's impossible. But when you have a team like that coming off such an amazing comeback against Oklahoma, sure, it's an inferior team, but still a playoff win on the road, but you just give up against Indiana, that's a problem. That's a serious problem. I like that backup quarterback who came in after Ty Simpson got hurt, Austin Mack. He's got something to him. I like that kid. But I don't know the direction of that program. And that's kind of what consumed me after, because we beat their ass so bad. And I should be enjoying it, and I did. Trust me, we're in dreamland. I mean, never in our history have we won a major bowl. We hadn't won a bowl game, as you mentioned, since I was one. My daughter's age, she's a year and a half. The last time we won a bowl game at all, I was a year and a half. Interesting coincidence there. First time Big Ten champion, first time ever winning 14 games. I mean, most programs haven't won 14 games in a season because we haven't played that many games before in a year. But all this and, the first Heisman Trophy and Sig just doing all this. And it's like, Alabama didn't belong on the same field as us. It's weird to just think that IU and Bama are competing in the postseason, how insane that is. But to see that this Indiana team was so far and beyond better, that strikes a chord, man. And then you get all this bullshit on social media. You get it all with the ESPN and all of the talking heads that, Indiana, they'll finally see an SEC team. But like, dude, this was a total another level that no one outside that IU locker room saw coming. There is no logical human being that would have gone in and said, Indiana will completely dominate 4 quarters, win by 5 touchdowns, and that Ohio State Big Ten championship win will look like nothing. That win at Oregon will look like nothing. I have never seen this, felt like this, or even imagined to be here right now, beating a program like Alabama, arguably the greatest college football program of all time, by 5 fucking touchdowns in the Rose Bowl.
Well said.
Pretty
That's
awesome.
our show.
Pretty awesome.
I mean, it's just cool to see, of course, when one of your buddies' team does well and you have no dog in the fight and you're just excited for your guy, and then throw it into the mix of, I was telling my mom, it's like the New York Jets being amazing and undefeated and playing the Steelers, Cowboys, Packers, Eagles, 49ers, Patriots, one of those teams. Just one of those teams who are either really good or really popular, a popular franchise like the Packers or Steelers. They're not really, really good, but they're really, really popular. The Niners are really, really good. The Packers are really, really good. They're playoff teams, So I explained that to her, and she was like, oh, wow, that's a big deal. I'm like, yeah. And imagine, Mom, that you live in New York or you live in Jersey. Imagine what that would feel like. And she's like, oh, that's really cool. She totally got it. I was like, there you go. And she's like, all right, I'm still not watching. But yeah. So that is just, it's incredible. It's you don't believe it. You cannot believe what is happening. You are just like, What are we doing?
I
Just
had my
unreal, dude.
concerns. I had my concerns because, again, the ultimate pessimist, because Indiana football is Indiana football. But it's just like, how on earth do you go from that Ohio State win, have a month layoff, and figure out a way to fully get ready for Alabama, who, again, is not rusty like we are? And again, my whole point, now 1-7, these programs. And it's like, dude, it looked like they played last week. And, slow start, whatever, for one drive, literally one drive, a bit of a slow start. But beyond that, man, it looked like this team was more prepared than any college football team than I remember. And especially you skew that for the talent that we have compared to the other very good teams, either national champions or national title contenders. They all have 4 and 5 star players on their team. Indiana's totally different. So the level of execution, the level of preparation, it's unbelievable. Sig, like, when I think he can't do any more, be any better, like, how is this guy not a Power 4 coach for the last 15 years? It blows my mind. But thank you everyone else for not hiring him, because we're blessed. We're #blessed.
#blessed. So you got Oregon. It's Oregon week. On to Oregon, and we'll see how it goes.
It's tough. It's going to be tough. Yeah, but I trust him. I trust Sig. In Sig we trust, my man. It's going to be tough. But Atlanta's going to be cream and crimson. It's very, very, very heavy populated with IU alum down that way. And again, Oregon, second straight week, you got to travel across country. So that'll be tough on them. But Dan Lanning will have them ready, and they should be held. We'll see. Dante Moore got that hand issue, but he'll be fine. They'll be ready. It'll be a very good game. But we ain't going to beat them by 5 touchdowns. I promise you that.
Yeah, no kidding.
I would like to, but it ain't going to.
So this Ole Miss situation with Lane Kiffin and all that, like, would you, if you're Lane Kiffin waking up this morning, I am told he's a fan of the show, so he is watching, what are you thinking right now as you see your team have a chance to win the Natty, and you're with LSU, who's got a lot of holes to fix and you got a lot of work to do, and just how that game ended up, the field goals and just all of that going, like, just what a game. And we knew it was going to be another shootout the way that it was. Just I'm still, I saw the sign last night, a play on, with being New Year's, but somewhat an Ole Miss sign. Kiffin is so last year. Like, that's
good. It's true.
That's like a chef's kiss. Like, that is so funny. T.I., what's your take on Ole Miss? Trinidad, 30 for 36, I think. Like, that dude all in.
Yeah,
Trinidad.
Yeah, I like him a lot. But first, before I dive into Ole Miss, I would just like to express my sorrow for all of the Alabama fans, because it really breaks my heart to see them get axe murdered like that. It really makes me kind of shed a tear, couple tears actually, to all their fan base. So just wipe the tears out of my eyes real quick. But
what happened to you last night? I was murdered.
So, moving forward, yeah, Trinidad's great quarterback. Makes me really wonder if, let's be real. They're going up against Miami. If you're wanting to have an opponent with a chance to go to the Natty between Oregon or Indiana or Miami, who do you want to play? Miami. Ole Miss has a great offense. So we could very well see them in the national championship. So with that being said, maybe Trinidad doesn't have his sights set on LSU, doesn't have his sights on being, these kids today, they're like, I want to transfer, and, Lane Kiffin is probably already kind of secretly texting him. So, I'm not going to jump that shark yet. So I'm going to just consider he's an all-in at Ole Miss. He's fun to watch. I like his style of play. He made a couple mistakes, bounced back from. So, yeah, I mean, the end of the game was wild. Needs some circus music going on there. is it a safety? Oh, we don't know. And then they're playing backyard football, just throwing the ball around for about an hour and a half, So, I mean, pretty crazy. I think we all thought Georgia would win that game, but we did not think that Ole Miss didn't have a chance. We all said their offense is great. We just, sometimes it's just tough to bet against Kirby Smart. He's one of those coaches I really wouldn't want to go up against. He's another guy that, he's not my favorite, but he is pretty tough-nosed. He's not afraid to talk the talk and walk the walk. So, I got respect for him. But, Lane Kiffin's situation, I mean, he's got to be sitting there looking at this like, oh, man, did I make the right move? I mean, of course, he's going to have unlimited money. It's LSU. LSU is a premier university of the SEC, probably more prestigious than Ole Miss. Who'll have more opportunity for, in-house players. I mean, it definitely doesn't have to really compete with too many teams. Doesn't have the whole Mississippi State, Ole Miss thing to deal with players and rivalries. So he's definitely going to get all the LSU players. All the Louisiana players, state players. We know that. And he'd be able to recruit. I think at this situation, if you're looking at Alabama or you're looking at LSU, and you're a young kid coming out of high school, you're going to really choose Alabama over LSU, considering what we just saw in the direction of Alabama. So I think he made the right move, but it's got to be eating at him a little bit to see this go down, and knowing that he was like, well, shit, all I'd have to do is beat Miami and I'd be in the national championship. So maybe you should have just waited, but I'm sure LSU was like, nah, you got to give us a decision so we can move on to somebody else. So he didn't have a lot of options. He obviously didn't want to stay at Ole Miss, but he deep down he probably wanted to coach this game. And hey, when players feel shunned, when players feel that their leaders turn their back on them, they rise to the occasion, and that's what Ole Miss did. So,
Sure.
Man, I did not see that coming. I thought it would be a good game. I thought that Georgia would just take care of business in the end, and I thought there'd be a sense where you would be able to say that Kirby Smart was able to say that he outcoached, the other guy. Like you would be able to pinpoint, and there was situations like fake punts and, gutsy calls and things, but
yeah,
Ole Miss did it too.
Yeah,
Ole Miss coaching staff was stupid too.
I mean,
It went both ways.
like 9 minutes ago, and you're going for it on the 20. Not a good move. Not a good move. That's obviously what cost them the game. That right there. I mean, let's be real. That play cost them the game. I think there's plenty of time left to punt, and then play your cards with whatever happens. But Kirby Smart likes to gamble, man. He reminds me of Riverboat Ron and some of those coaches that are just, Dan Campbell, another one, like, I'm going to go for it no matter what. Kirby Smart's kind of one of those dudes, and he'll live or die with it. And last night he died with it.
So I want to make 2 points real quick before we move on or get out of here. So one, Lane Kiffin is sitting here with his big ego saying, I did that. I made that happen. Well, of course he wants to be coaching. He said he wanted to coach it, and of course Ole Miss is not going to allow him to do it. But with knowing he did this at Ole Miss, he's thinking 1 year, 2 year, I'm going to do it at LSU too. If I can do it at Ole Miss, of course I'm going to go to LSU with more resources, get more money, and I'm going to do it at LSU too. So he is totally fine. He believes whatever Ole Miss does, he did that. He thinks he deserves a ring if they do win the national title. I don't think they will, but whatever their success is, at least a Sugar Bowl ring he believes he deserves at this point. There might be just some argument to that. But of course, he decided to move on during the portal opening time and yada. But the last point I want to make might surprise more people. Ole Miss beating Georgia surprises me more than Miami beating Ohio State. And I mean that with what was brought up. Kirby Smart coaching against a head coach that none of the three of us can name right now. I can't name him right now. I know you two probably can't come up with his name right now. But he got beat by that. Are you kidding? And Ole Miss has the talent. We all know Ole Miss has the talent. But it wasn't about that. It's Kirby Smart, who I still believe with resume and what he's done over the years, the best coach in college football. Today, no, he's not. But the fact is, over the last since retirement of Saban, the best coach in college football just got out-coached by a coordinator and got beat. And that coordinator didn't coach very well. There were multiple two-point conversion early, the fourth down call, which you go for it on fourth down there, but you don't run a sweep. That was ridiculous, a tight end around. And then also the clock management at the end of the first half was abysmal. And you're down by 9. You couldn't get a field goal off with the best kicker in the country, apparently, who could kick it from Mars. I was like, oh, this game's over. We're just going to open it up. Didn't happen. Kudos to Trinidad. Kudos to Ole Miss. That's going to be a fun Fiesta Bowl. Very contrasting styles. A run-first team that's a defensive-minded against Ole Miss run and gun. That's going to be interesting. I think Ole Miss is too good offensively. That's why I thought Miami had a shot against Ohio State, because Ohio State's offense just could not get it clicking because the offensive line had so many issues. Ole Miss is a different beast. I think Ohio State's a better team than Ole Miss, but with how they match up, the matchups favor Ole Miss in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. That's the Fiesta. Yeah.
Fiesta. Yep. On January 8th. So a week from yesterday is Fiesta. And then the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl will be a week from today, next Friday. And it will be the Hoosiers rematch against the Oregon Ducks. It's going to be fun, man. This is where you tell us before the season started, this year Final Four. GTFOH.
Yeah. A billion %. Like, this is wild. We are completely here for it. Excited. Reminder to follow us wherever you get your social media from. Film Idiot Nation. Of course, Titans Idiot Nation has the biggest and baddest followers, of course, so you can start there. Especially if you want a good laugh for sure.
Most ass followers too.
And then and then which, by the way, for t-shirts like this, hit the link. You can pick up yours today. But new episodes of Sports Idiot Nation come to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Again, Happy New Year, and we will see you Monday. Thank you for watching this episode of Sports Idiot Nation. Remember, we are on all social media and on YouTube, and the podcast can be found on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Remember, new episodes are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And remember, because you watch Sports Idiot Nation,
you would be the smartest idiot in the whole world.